Imagine this with me for a moment. A serene spiritual leader, the Buddha, he's walking through the Kassala region, yeah, surrounded by a large group of monks. He pauses, and then he just smiles.
Mm.
Not at someone specific, not at anything obvious, but seemingly just into the air. Why would a Buddha smile? For, well, no apparent reason.
And that's exactly what his attendant, Ānanda, immediately wonders. Ānanda knows that Buddhas don't smile without cause, without some kind of deep significance.
Right.
So he steps forward and asks, "What's the reason, Lord, for this smile?" And this isn't just like idle curiosity. It's an understanding that something important, maybe a teaching, is about to unfold.
Exactly. And that question, that simple moment, is our starting point for today's deep dive. We're going to unpack a truly fascinating ancient text, a discourse or sutta from the Buddhist canon, specifically the Ghaṭikārasuttaṃ. Our mission today is really to extract the most profound nuggets of insight from this incredible story. It's about an extraordinary friendship, remarkable devotion, and honestly, a truly surprising twist from a previous life.
Yeah, that twist is something else.
We'll uncover powerful lessons on humility, unwavering faith, and the, often hidden paths to enlightenment.
So the stage is set. The Buddha has just smiled. Ānanda has asked why. And the Buddha starts to reveal the layers of history embedded right there in that very spot where they're standing.
And what a history it is. The Buddha tells Ānanda that this exact place, this spot, was once a thriving, populous town called Vibhanga.
Right.
But it's not just its ancient history that makes it special, is it? There's a profound spiritual significance tied to this place.
Absolutely. The Buddha identifies it as sacred precisely because it was where Kassapa Buddha, another fully enlightened one who actually came before Jotipāla Buddha.
Right, a previous Buddha.
Exactly. That's where he resided and taught his community of monks. This ground, he says, was where Kassapa Buddha had his monastery, where he sat and taught the Sangha, the monastic community.
Wow.
So the ground they're standing on carries this spiritual imprint of profound enlightenment.
That's an incredible thought, isn't it? The weight of not one, but two Buddhas gracing the same patch of earth. So hearing this, Ānanda, who's always so respectful, immediately lays out the Buddha's robes for him to sit. He says, "Then let the Buddha be seated, for this ground was used by two fully enlightened ones."
It really underlines the sacredness of the location.
The Buddha sits and then continues to unfold this story from a distant past. He tells Ānanda that in this very town of Vibhanga, there lived a potter named Ghaṭikāra.
Ghaṭikāra the potter.
This wasn't just any potter. He was the chief attendant, the foremost disciple of Kassapa Buddha.
Okay, so a really important figure.
Oh, absolutely. This detail alone tells us about his deep connection and importance.
So we meet Ghaṭikāra, a figure of incredible devotion, and he had a dear friend, a young man named Jotipāla.
Jotipāla.
Yes.
And this is where the story takes a really fascinating turn, I think. Ghaṭikāra, clearly deeply committed to the Dharma, wants his friend Jotipāla to experience the same profound teachings. But, what kind of friendship is this, where one friend is so determined to bring the other to, spiritual awakening?
That's a great question, because initially Jotipāla was remarkably resistant.
He wasn't keen.
Not at all. He wasn't just disinterested. He was actually dismissive.
Yeah.
He referred to Kassapa Buddha as a bald-headed ascetic, which was, a common insult back then for wandering renunciants.
Yeah, okay.
Ghaṭikāra, however, was completely undeterred. He invited Jotipāla not once, not twice, but multiple times. It shows this truly unwavering resolve he had.
And Jotipāla just kept refusing. So Ghaṭikāra takes this truly drastic, almost you could say audacious step.
He really does.
He grabbed Jotipāla by the arm. When Jotipāla pulled away, Ghaṭikāra incredibly grabbed him by the hair.
The hair, yeah.
And the text points out Jotipāla had just bathed his head, which makes the act even more, jarring culturally, right?
Absolutely. That detail's key.
What's the audacity here meant to convey? Is this a lesson in, radical friendship or just extreme frustration on Ghaṭikāra's part?
Well, it's definitely not frustration in the ordinary sense, I'd say. It's presented more as an act of profound, almost desperate compassion.
Okay.
The text highlights Jotipāla having just bathed his head precisely to emphasize the social transgression. For a humble potter to do something so culturally disrespectful to a friend who might have even been of higher standing, it signifies the immense urgency and importance Ghaṭikāra placed on Jotipāla meeting the Buddha. It's this moment of kind of tough love, that shatters Jotipāla's complacency, forces him to reconsider.
And it worked.
It did. Jotipāla was so taken aback that he realized, there must be something truly significant about this Kassapa Buddha to make his friend act like this.
Huh.
So he finally agreed to go.
And so Ghaṭikāra and Jotipāla went to see Kassapa Buddha. Ghaṭikāra, showing his deep respect, he bowed and sat aside. Jotipāla, well, he exchanged polite greetings before taking his seat. Ghaṭikāra then introduced his friend, asking the Buddha to teach him.
And Kassapa Buddha then delivered a Dharma talk that the text describes as thoroughly instructing, encouraging, inspiring, and gladdening, both of them.
So it wasn't just some dry lecture.
Not at all. It was clearly a deeply transformative experience. Inspired by this profound teaching, Jotipāla decided right then, basically, to renounce the household life and join the monastic order under Kassapa Buddha.
Just like that.
Just like that. He received ordination and then higher ordination. That encounter was the pivotal turning point for him.
Wow. So Jotipāla embraced the monastic life, and after he'd been a monk for, about half a month?
About that, yeah. Kassapa Buddha left Vibhanga and journeyed to Barasi. He settled in the Isipatana, the deer park there.
Okay. And in Barasi, King Kiki of Kāsī heard that Kassapa Buddha had arrived.
Right, the local king.
Yeah. So with great royal splendor, the king went to meet him, paid his respects, and sat down. Kassapa Buddha then gave King Kiki a Dharma talk.
And the king was delighted, apparently. He invited the Buddha and his whole monastic community for a meal the next day.
Standard royal offering. But after the meal, King Kiki made a request. He asked Kassapa Buddha to stay for the rainy season retreat, the Vasa in Barasi.
But Kassapa Buddha declined. He stated he had already spent his rainy season retreat elsewhere.
Ah. And the king, well, understandably, was disappointed. This leads him to ask a very, very interesting question.
Indeed. The king, still feeling a bit let down, asked if there was anyone more devoted or better at serving Kassapa Buddha than himself, the king.
A bit of royal ego, perhaps?
Maybe a little. But Kassapa Buddha's answer is quite telling. Yes, great king, there is a town called Vibhanga, and there lives a plotter named Ghaṭikāra. He's my attendant, my foremost attendant.
That's truly astonishing, isn't it? A powerful king, accustomed to these grand gestures of devotion, is told a humble potter surpasses him. What does that tell us about what devotion truly means in this context? Is it about the big offerings or something far more internal?
That's the crucial distinction the text seems to be making. King Kiki's devotion, while probably sincere, still carried an expectation, right? A desire for the Buddha's continued presence.
He wanted something back.
In a way. Kassapa Buddha then explicitly contrasts the king's disappointment with Ghaṭikāra's unwavering devotion, highlighting that such disappointment would never arise in Ghaṭikāra. Ghaṭikāra's devotion, on the other hand, was utterly selfless.
Completely selfless.
Yeah. It wasn't about what he could gain, but purely about supporting the Dharma and the Buddha, even at great personal cost. The text uses this contrast to show that true devotion transcends worldly status and expectations. It focuses instead on unwavering commitment and renunciation, which, importantly, are the hallmarks of a non-returner.
Ah, okay. So the Buddha then goes on to detail Ghaṭikāra's exceptional qualities, explaining why he was considered the foremost attendant. And these qualities are truly remarkable.
They really are.
He had gone for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, that's core Buddhist practice. He abstained from killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, lying, and intoxicating drinks, the 5 precepts, foundational ethical conduct.
The basics, but lived perfectly.
But his faith wasn't just passive belief, was it? What makes that distinction so powerful here?
That's a crucial point. His faith was described as deeply experiential, like rooted in a direct comprehension of the 4 noble truths: suffering, its cause, its cessation, and the path.
So he didn't just believe it, he knew it.
Exactly. It meant he didn't just intellectually grasp these concepts, he lived them. This kind of faith isn't about blind adherence. It's about an unshakable conviction born from insight, which then informs every single action and decision. And beyond that, the text says he was endowed with noble virtues. He had no doubt about suffering, its origin, its cessation, or the path, indicating a really deep understanding. He also ate only 1 meal a day and lived a celibate life. Incredible discipline.
And it goes further. He was virtuous, good character. He'd renounced jewels, gold, silver, precious metals, demonstrating this profound detachment from worldly possessions.
Old attachment.
And what's really unique about his pottery is that he didn't even dig the earth himself with the hoe or his hands.
Yeah, that detail is fascinating.
Instead, he collected clay only from places where it had fallen naturally, like riverbanks, or where it had been dug up by rodents. That detail alone just speaks volumes about his commitment to non-harming, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Minimal impact. He would make his pottery and then just place it out, telling people, take what you want and leave some rice or mung beans or black beans in return.
So it wasn't about profit or personal gain for him at all.
Not in the slightest. It was a pure act of service, just a way to sustain himself without any grasping. And on top of all this, he cared for his blind, aged parents. Immense compassion, filial piety.
Just incredible.
And then the Buddha states that Ghaṭikāra was actually a non-returner, an agamin.
Okay, what does that mean exactly?
It means he had eliminated the 5 lower fetters, things like self-view, doubt, attachment to rites and rituals, and was destined to attain final liberation, nibbana, in the celestial realm. He would never return to be reborn in this world. It's a very, very high level of spiritual attainment.
Wow. Okay. So Kassapa Buddha then recounts 2 separate occasions when he personally went to Ghaṭikāra's parents' home in Vipanga for alms.
Right. He went to their house.
On both occasions, Ghaṭikāra was out, but his parents, they recognized the Buddha immediately and directed him to take rice and soup, or maybe barley meal and soup, directly from their own cooking pot.
Just helped himself, basically, at their invitation.
Yeah. Kassapa Buddha did so. And when Ghaṭikāra returned and learned that Kassapa Buddha had taken food from his home while he was away, he was filled with joy. The text says for half a month.
Incredible joy. And his parents, too, for a week. This wasn't just like being happy. It was a profound spiritual bliss, the kind that arises from deep merit and unwavering devotion, a true expression of mudika, or sympathetic joy.
And there's another story that takes his devotion to, well, an almost miraculous level. Kassapa Buddha recounted a time when his own hut was leaking.
Right, the roof needed fixing.
So he sent monks to Ghaṭikāra's house to get some thatch. Ghaṭikāra's parents, without a second thought, told the monks to take thatch from their own well-thatched house.
Amazing generosity, giving away their own roof, essentially.
Astonishing. But what happens next is truly mind-boggling. The source states that Ghaṭikāra's house, now unroofed, remained open to the sky for 3 months without any rain falling on it.
3 months, no rain inside.
What does a story like that really aim to convey about Ghaṭikāra's merit? I mean, beyond just a magical event, what's the deeper principle the text is trying to illustrate here?
That's exactly the right question. It's a deeper principle we need to look at. The text uses these seemingly supernatural elements, I think, to underscore the profound spiritual energy and protective power that can manifest through such unparalleled virtue and devotion.
So it's not just luck.
No, it's not just a lucky break. It's presented as the Dharma itself, or maybe the force of his karma, aligning to protect someone who embodies such profound detachment and generosity. It really elevates Ghaṭikāra from just a good person to a truly exemplary figure within the spiritual realm. It demonstrates the immense power of selfless action and purity of mind.
And King Kiki, when he heard this.
Naturally, King Kiki acknowledged Ghaṭikāra's incredible good fortune to be so highly regarded by the Buddha.
And just to really underscore Ghaṭikāra's detachment, King Kiki, pressed by all this virtue, sent Ghaṭikāra 500 cartloads of fine rice and suitable provisions, a massive gift.
Huge gift. Royal gift.
But Ghaṭikāra, totally true to his character, refused it.
Refused it all.
He simply said, "The king has many duties. Let it be for the king." What does this refusal tell us? It's not just humble, it's a profound statement, isn't it?
It absolutely is. It highlights his complete lack of attachment to any worldly gain or recognition. He wasn't looking for a reward. His actions were purely driven by his devotion to the Dharma and, well, his attainment as a non-returner.
Right.
He probably saw the gift as something that would only add to his burdens, maybe distract him from his spiritual path. It just reinforces that idea that true wealth isn't in accumulation, but in liberation from craving.
Okay. And then comes the big reveal. The moment the current Buddha, Gautama, addresses Ānanda directly, almost anticipating a thought Ānanda might be having.
Yeah, he cuts straight to it.
He says, perhaps you might think that Jotipāla, the young man in that story, was someone else at that time.
So what does this all mean? The Buddha then reveals, but Ānanda, it should not be seen like that. I was Jotipāla, the young man, at that time.
What?
This confirms that the current Buddha, Gautama Buddha, was none other than Jotipāla. the very friend who was so resistant, so reluctant, had to be rather unconventionally dragged to meet Kassapa Buddha by his devoted friend Ghaṭikāra.
That's a truly mind-bending revelation. To think that the enlightened being we know as the Buddha was, in a previous life, someone so resistant to spiritual teaching that he had to be literally physically dragged to it.
Yeah.
What are the implications of this for our understanding of spiritual paths, transformation? What does it suggest?
Oh, it's incredibly profound, I think. Firstly, it really shows the power of persistent, compassionate friendship, potentially spanning lifetimes, right? Ghaṭikāra's initial tough love was actually an act of immeasurable merit that ultimately set the future Buddha on his path.
So Ghaṭikāra helped the Buddha become the Buddha.
In a very real sense, yes, he played a crucial role in that lifetime. Secondly, it highlights that even future Buddhas, bodhisattvas, on their long journey, go through stages of doubt, resistance, maybe even ignorance.
It humanizes the path.
Exactly. It humanizes the path to enlightenment, making it perhaps more relatable to all of us who might initially resist spiritual truths or practices. And finally, it just underscores the long arc of spiritual development, where seemingly small acts of sincere connection, like Ghaṭikāra's persistence, can ripple across countless lives, eventually leading to the highest forms of awakening.
What an incredible deep dive, everyone. We've really seen the power of persistent friendship, the sheer depth of true devotion shown by Ghaṭikāra, and that astonishing revelation of past lives. We've learned about Ghaṭikāra's profound virtues, from his really strict ethical conduct to his selfless care for his parents and his ultimate spiritual attainment as a non-returner. Just amazing.
This story truly shows us, doesn't it, that enlightenment and spiritual progress aren't always found through the most conventional paths or necessarily by those in positions of power like King Kiki.
Yeah, the king didn't quite get it in the same way.
No. Sometimes the deepest wisdom and the greatest influence come from the most humble and unexpected places. Like a simple potter whose unwavering faith and kindness could even influence a future Buddha.
So, for you, our listener, maybe consider this. How seemingly small acts of sincere friendship and deep devotion, even if they're initially met with resistance, how they can potentially set in motion a chain of events that lead to profound spiritual transformation. Not just for oneself, but for others, maybe even across lifetimes.
It makes you wonder.
Yeah, what seemingly ordinary relationships in your own life might be nurturing some extraordinary unseen potential, something to think about.